Good morning. We have covered lots of important topics in our previous grammar classes. I suggest you revisit those classes at will and refresh your knowledge on those topics. I'll link up those videos in the description. Today we will be learning about types of tenses, direct and indirect speech, active and passive voice. So let's start the class with tense. What is a tense? Tense is any of the forms of a verb that may be used to show the time of the action or state expressed by the verb. So, tense is defined by the forms of a verb. A verb that refers to present time is said to be in the present tense or simple present. For example, I walk. A verb that refers to past time is said to be in the past tense or simple past. For example, I walked. A verb that refers to future time is said to be in the future tense or simple future. For example, I shall walk. Now, each of these tenses, that is past, present, and future, can take four main aspects, that is simple, perfect, continuous or progressive, and perfect continuous. So there are four present tense forms: simple present, present continuous, present perfect, and present perfect continuous. Let's see one by one. Simple present. The verb shows that the action is mentioned is simply without anything being said about whether action is complete or incomplete. For example, I walk. Now, what about present continuous? Here, the verb shows that the action is mentioned, incomplete, or continuous, which is still going on. For example, I am walking. So the action is going on. Now, what is present perfect? In present perfect, the verb shows that the action is mentioned as finished, complete, or perfect at the time of speaking. For example, I have walked. Now, the fourth type, present perfect continuous. Here, the verb shows that the action is going on continuously and not completed at the present moment. For example, I have been walking. So the action is going on continuously and it is not completed now. Let us look at the four past tense forms. They are simple past, past continuous, past perfect, and past perfect continuous. Let's look at the first one, simple past. Here, the verb shows that the action is completed in the past. For example, I walked. What about past continuous? Here, the verb shows the action going on sometime in the past. For example, I was walking. It is sometime in the past. What about past perfect? Here, the verb shows an action completed before a certain moment in the past. For example, I had walked. Here, the action walked is completed sometime in the past. So, this is in past perfect tense. Now, what about past perfect continuous? Here, the verb shows that the action began before a certain point in the past and continued up to that time. For example, I had been walking. Here, the verb walk began sometime in the past and it is continuing up to that time. Now, let's look at the four future tense forms. They are simple future, future continuous, future perfect, and future perfect continuous. So, what is simple future? Here, the verb shows that the action is still to take place. For example, I shall walk. Now, what about future continuous? Here, the verb shows the action is going on sometime in the future. For example, I shall be walking. What about future perfect? Here, the verb shows completion of an action by a certain future time. For example, I shall have walked. Now, what about future perfect continuous? Here, the verb shows that an action represented as being in progress over a period of time that will end in the future. For example, I shall have been walking. So it means that the action walk is progressing over a time and will end in the future. So we have dealt with the types of tenses in chapter 4 and 5 of your English reader. Please revisit those classes to understand the rules of tense formation. Now let us learn about direct and indirect speech. So direct speech is a written record of someone's exact words, whereas indirect speech tells what a person says without writing the speaker's exact words. For example, the student said, "We want to go." This is an example for direct speech. Now, the students said that they wanted to go. This is an example for indirect speech. Let's see some of the rules for converting a direct speech to indirect speech. If the reported speech is in simple present, then the indirect speech will be in simple past. For example, I always drink coffee, she said. Here the verb is drink. So when this sentence is changed to indirect speech, the verb drink is changed from simple present to simple past, that is, drank. So this sentence is rewritten as she said that she always drank coffee. So what if the reported speech is in present continuous? Then the verb is changed to past continuous in indirect speech. For example, I am reading a book, he said. When converted to indirect speech, this is changed to he said that he was reading a book. Here the base verb am is changed to was. So what if the reported speech is in present perfect form? Then this has to be changed to past perfect in indirect speech. For example, I have been to Kerala, he said. Here the irregular verb have is changed to had in indirect speech. So what if the reported speech is in present perfect continuous? So when changed to indirect speech, the verb which is in present perfect continuous is changed to past perfect continuous. For example, they complained, we have been waiting for hours. When changed to indirect speech, this can be rewritten as they complained that they had been waiting for hours. Here the irregular verb have is changed to had. So what if the reported speech is in simple past? Then this has to be changed to past perfect in indirect speech. For example, Bill arrived on Sunday, he said. So when changed to indirect speech, this can be rewritten as he said that Bill had arrived on Sunday. Now, what if the reported speech is in past continuous? So when changed to indirect speech, so the verb will be changed to past perfect continuous. For example, we were living in Chandigarh, they told me. When changed to indirect speech, this can be rewritten as they told me that they had been living in Chandigarh. What if the reported speech is in past perfect? When converted to indirect speech, the past perfect remains past perfect itself. For example, I had just turned off the light, he explained. When converted to indirect speech, this can be rewritten as he explained that he had just turned off the light. Now, what if the reported speech is in past perfect continuous? When changed to indirect speech, the past perfect continuous remains past perfect continuous itself. For example, she said, I had been planning to go on a tour. When changed to indirect speech, this can be rewritten as she said that she had been planning to go on a tour. Now, what if the reported speech is in simple future? So, when changed to indirect speech, simple future is changed to present conditional. That means will changes to would, shall changes to should. Now, what if the reported speech is future continuous? When converted to indirect speech, future continuous is changed to conditional continuous. That is, will be changes into would be and shall be changes into should be. For example, she said, I'll be using the car next Friday. So, when changed to indirect speech, this can be rewritten as she said that she would be using the car next Friday. Now, what if the reported speech is in future perfect tense? When it is changed to indirect speech, will have changes into would have and shall have changes into should have. For example, father said, I shall have tea later. When changed into indirect speech, this can be rewritten as father said that he should have tea later. Now, what if the reported speech is in future perfect continuous tense? Then, when converted to indirect speech, will have been changes into would have been, and shall have been changes into should have been. For example, the old man said, I shall have been fishing all day. When converted to indirect speech, this can be rewritten as the old man said that he should have been fishing all day. Moving to exercise, there are two sections, Section A and Section B. Section A, you need to change the sentences to indirect speech. And in Section B, you need to correct the errors in the reported speech in these sentences. Now, let's look at Section A. I'll do few of the questions. The rest you have to do it on your own. Question number 1. Jyoti explained, I'm writing a letter now. This sentence is in present continuous tense. So when we change it to indirect speech, present continuous tense should be changed to past continuous tense. So the verb am is changed to was. So this sentence can be rewritten as Jyoti explained that she was writing a letter then. Question number 2. Priyansh complained, Rohit pushed me while we were playing football. Here the simple past is changed to past perfect. So this sentence can be rewritten as Priyansh complained that Rohit had pushed him while they were playing football. Now, question number 3. She exclaimed, This book is wonderful. So this is in simple present tense. So when changed to indirect speech, this is changed to simple past. So this sentence can be rewritten as she exclaimed that the book was wonderful. Now, moving on to section B. Correct the errors in the reported speech in these sentences. Question number 1. She said, I'm learning French these days. So this is in present continuous tense. So present continuous tense, we need to change it to past continuous tense. So the base verb am will be changed to was. Now, what is the sentence given? She said that she will be learning French these days. Here the verb is wrong, so we need to change it to was. So this sentence can be rewritten as she said that she was learning French these days. Question number 3. We will work on this project together, said Mary. So this is in simple future tense. So when changed to indirect speech, will changes into would. So what is the sentence given here? Mary said that we have been working on the project together. So a simple future is changed to present conditional. So working is wrong, it will be work. And have been should be replaced with would. So this sentence can be rewritten as Mary suggested that we would work on the project together. Moving on to our last section, active and passive voice. So before learning active and passive voice, let's brush up on our knowledge about transitive and intransitive verbs. We learned about transitive and intransitive verbs in our previous classes. In a transitive verb, the action denoted by the verb passes from the doer to the object. For example, Pablo kicked the ball. Here the action kick is passed from Pablo to the ball. What about intransitive verb? In intransitive verb, the action denoted by the verb stops with the doer and does not pass over to the object. For example, the lion roared. In this sentence, there is no object. So, this transitive verb can be used in two ways. They can be used as active verbs and as passive verbs. What is active voice? When the subject of a sentence performs the verb's action, we say that the sentence is in active voice. Then what about passive voice? In passive voice, the subject is acted on by the verb. If it is so, we say the sentence is in passive voice. For example, Param cut down the trees. Here, the subject is Param and his action of cutting is passed from Param to trees. So this is in active voice. Now, let's look at another sentence. The trees were cut down by Param. Here, the subject Param does not perform the action but is the receiver of the action. So this sentence is in passive voice. So why do we use passive voice? Passive voice are used for various reasons. I'll list out 4 reasons for you. To stress on the action done rather than on the doer of the action. Second point, when the doer is unimportant, unknown, or not required. Third, to hide the doer. Fourth, to emphasize the result of a disaster. Moving on to the exercise section, we have 2 sections, section C and section D. Section C, identify which of the sentences are in active voice and which are in passive voice. Section D, rewrite these sentences to the passive voice. I'll do few of the questions. Rest of the questions you have to do it on your own. Section C, question number 1. I shot an arrow. Here the action is passed from I to arrow. So this sentence is in active voice. Question number 2. The fuse was changed by the electrician. So this sentence is in passive voice. Question number 3. The snow was cleared by the workers. So this sentence is in passive voice. Question number 4. Harish broke the window pane. So this sentence is in active voice. Now, section D. Rewrite these sentences to the passive voice. Question number 1. Rita threw the ball into the air. So this sentence can be rewritten as the ball was thrown into the air by Rita. Question number 2. Mother gave the cat some milk. So this sentence can be rewritten as some milk was given to the cat by mother. Question number 4. Sheila bought a bouquet of roses. So this sentence can be rewritten as a bouquet of roses was bought by Sheila. Rest of the questions you have to do it on your own. We have come to the end of the class. Please write down the answers in your notebook and submit them along with your assignments. It was good to share the class with you all. Let us meet in the next class and explore more. Till then, adios.